We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks, as we learn about food through books. Today we're reading a funny story. It's called The Very Bumpy Bus Ride. This is by Michaela Mouton, pictures by B. Wiseman, and it's a Parents Magazine Press story. This book is about the county fair. And in both Allegheny and Surry County, our fairs are coming up really soon. So that might be something that you would enjoy doing with your family. The Rumbletown bus stopped at number 1 Bumble Street, and Mrs. Fitzwizzle climbed on board, carrying her prize-winning strawberries. She was taking her strawberries to the county fair. The doors closed with a swish, and off they went, bumping and bouncing down Bumble Street. My, said Mrs. Fitzwizzle, this is a very bumpy bus ride. And on the top of the bus, it actually says the county fair, so that must be where they're headed. Suddenly, the bus bounced to a stop. Honk, honk. The bus driver sounded his horn. Honk, honk yourself, answered a gaggle of geese. Is this the bus to the county fair? Yes, it is, said the driver. So the gaggle of geese waddled onto the Rumbletown bus. I have not ever seen geese on a bus before. That's kind of interesting. At number 4 Bumble Street, Mr. Flapsaddle climbed on board, and he was carrying 2 bottles of fresh cream to take to the fair. Good morning, Mr. Flapsaddle said to the goose nearby. Honk, honk, the goose answered. Then the bus started with a jerk, and off they went, bumping and bouncing down Bumble Street. My goodness, cried Mr. Flapsaddle, this is a very bumpy, noisy bus ride. All those geese on there. I bet it was noisy. The bus stopped again. It was for Granny Smith's pickup truck. My truck won't start, Granny said, and my cat Crabapple and I have a load of prize-winning apples to take to the county fair. Don't worry, said the driver. We can tie your truck to the back of the bus, which is going to the county fair. Good idea, Granny said. So they tied that truck to the back of the bus, and off they went, bumping and bouncing down Bumble Street. Hang on to your whiskers, Granny called to Crabapple the cat. And away they are going. They had not gone far before the bus stopped again. Moo, moo. The driver saw the cow. Is this the bus to the fair? Yes, it is, said the driver. So the cow climbed on board, and there's barely room for that cow. The back of the cow is hanging out. The last stop was at number 6 Bumble Street. Billy McNeely was waiting to take his pet goldfish, Herbert, to the fair. Herbert could swim in perfect circles, and Billy was going to enter him in the pet contest. They squeezed onto the bus, and off they went, bumping and bouncing down Bumble Street. Jumping jelly beans, cried Billy McNeely. This is a very bumpy, noisy, crowded bus ride. Suddenly, the bus stopped again. I don't think they have room for anyone else, do you? But this time, it did not stop for a passenger. It did not stop for a gaggle of geese, a cow, or a broken-down pickup truck. It stopped for a hill. A big, steep hill. Everyone out, the bus driver called. We can't make it up this hill. But how will we get to the fair, Granny asked. I'll pull, said the cow. We'll push, the other said. And we'll honk and let everyone know we're coming, said the geese. So they're all working together. So they huffed, and they puffed, and they pushed, and they pulled, and they honked, and they mooed, until finally the Bumbletown bus was on the top of Bumble Street Hill, and there was the county fair at the bottom. Hooray, everyone cheered. But before they could get back onto the bus, and right down here you can see the fair rides, the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round. It started rolling down the hill all by itself. "My bus," cried the driver. "My strawberries," cried Mrs. Fitzwizzle. "My cream," cried Mr. Flapsaddle. "My apples," cried Granny Smith. "Herbert," cried Billy McNeely. They all ran after the Rumbletown bus, and it was rumbling and roaring and jiggling and jostling and bumping and bouncing faster and faster down the Bumble Street hill. Crash, bang, chunk, plunk, plop. The bus stopped right outside the Rumbletown County Fair. Whew, that was close. But look at this mess. There are things everywhere. "Oh no," everyone cried when they saw the strawberries and the cream and the apples all over the bus. And Herbert wasn't swimming in perfect circles anymore. He was hopping up and down. The judges came out to see what had happened. One judge wiped some strawberries off the bus. Delicious strawberry jam, first prize," and he handed Mrs. Fitzwizzle a blue ribbon. "This is the best whipped cream I have ever tasted," said another judge as she handed Mr. Flapsaddle a blue ribbon. Granny Smith won first prize for her applesauce. All those apples that were smashed turned into applesauce. And Billy's fish Herbert won the best pet show prize. After all, he was the only fish at the fair that could hop instead of swim. Everyone clapped and cheered, and they all had a wonderful time at the Rumbletown County Fair, and it was all because of the very bumpy bus ride. That really is a silly story, but it does help us think about if we work together, we can accomplish a lot of things, and we normally have a lot more fun and things turn out better. Well, today we're going to do something a little bit different. Since we had strawberries in our story, we're going to talk about how you make an upside-down strawberry ice cream sundae. So a lot of times when we have ice cream sundaes, we might have a big bowl of ice cream and just a little bit of fruit on the top. Well, if we swap that and we have a big bowl of fruit with just a little bit of ice cream, it's going to taste just as delicious, but it's going to be a whole lot healthier for us. Most of us need to get more from our fruits and vegetable groups right here on this side. So if we eat more fruit in our sundae and not as much ice cream, that is a good thing. So on some of these hot days, maybe try an upside-down ice cream sundae of your choice and cool off. And think about how much fun these characters in our book had at the county fair, and check out when our county fairs are going to be and maybe have some fun there yourself. If you want to enter some items in the fair, go to the fair websites and it'll give you all the information you need as far as when you need to have those items entered, and then go in and just look at all the pretty things, because county fairs really are a fun place to be. Thank you for joining us for Storytime Cooks, and we hope you'll come back again next week as we continue to learn about food through books.
We love food colored green, bell peppers